Kids tickets courtesy of Pepsi.
The Masters of the Universe.
Live from Minnesota's news channel, KSTP Channel 5, Stan Turner, Ruth Spencer, Dave Dahl, and Joe Schmidt bring you the Eyewitness News Update.
Good evening, everyone. A Maple Grove man is in jail tonight after a standoff with police near the airport.
He allegedly took a hostage, fired a shotgun, and terrorized workers inside an air freight company at Twin Cities International Airport. After holding off police for an hour at Burlington Air Express, he gave himself up to police. Our team coverage tonight includes what happened in the hour-long drama and how other workers reacted. We begin here with Dave Andrews.
Dressed in camouflage pants, jacket, and hat, 34-year-old Dale Allen Hansen was led away from the airport police headquarters. Authorities say he underwent psychiatric evaluation tonight at Hennepin County Medical Center. It was shortly after 2 o'clock, according to police, that Hansen, armed with a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun, entered the offices of Burlington Air Express inside a freight complex called Air Cargo City. Hansen fired off several shots, striking no one. 5 employees fled the building, but the office manager was taken hostage. The complex was quickly surrounded by police. Hansen fired a total of 21 shots during the incident. Police made contact with him by phone, and at 3:30 he gave himself up. The hostage was released, shaken but unharmed. Police say Hansen was recently fired or laid off by the company. That is being viewed as the likely motive behind the incident. Authorities said they were able to talk Hansen into giving up after assuring him he would not be harmed.
I know that one of his concerns was, how can I make sure when I come out that I'm not going to be shot? And so that was a matter of the negotiator being able to establish the trust with the individual that we wanted to see this thing resolved and nobody get hurt.
A spokesman for Burlington Air Express described Hansen as a disgruntled employee. Hansen will remain in jail pending charges, which police indicated will be filed by Friday. At Twin Cities International Airport, I'm Dave Andrews for the Eyewitness News Update.
This is Mike Binkley. When the man first walked into Burlington's offices wearing camouflage fatigues and holding a shotgun, Jeff Ramsey was alone on the loading dock. And his first instinct was to ask the man, "Are you going hunting?" It didn't take long to realize otherwise.
Just told him to get out of his way, and held his gun up, and then he left, and then he ran for the office.
Several other employees scattered to nearby buildings. Some rushed into the airborne office to call 911.
They said that a man came in the office with a rifle. He was dressed in fatigues. It was a man that had been laid off. You know, they didn't stick around. They didn't really know. I mean, he had a shotgun, so they took off.
Frightening experience for you?
Very, very frightening. I want to get out of here now.
I've never been confronted with something like that in my life, and it was scary, but
it you know, I think everybody handled it pretty well. Even the employees that stayed inside, they did a good job.
Meanwhile, traffic was blocked off throughout the area, and employees of all the businesses in this complex were warned to stay inside.
Well, I was just sitting here working, and somebody called and said, are you aware of the hostage situation going on here? And I said, no, you're kidding, it's a prank. And they said, she said, no, I'm serious. They've already fired 2 shots, and lock your door, don't let anybody come in, and don't go out.
For nearly an hour and a half, truck shipments weren't allowed in or out of the complex. But once the suspect was captured, business returned to as close to normal as possible. Mike Binkley for the Eyewitness News Update.
Now tonight, another Burlington employee told us the suspect was a dock supervisor whose job category was eliminated throughout the Burlington system. Now Hansen was reportedly told of his dismissal just yesterday, and the office manager he allegedly held hostage today was the one who had told him that news. But in Missouri, a military U-21 plane and a civilian Piper Navajo collided in the air, killing all 5 people on board the 2 planes. Wreckage was scattered over a wide area near Kansas City, but no one on the ground was hurt. No cause established so far for that collision. In the past few weeks, Governor Perpich has expressed misgivings about military policy in Central America.
And of course, Stan, the main focus has been on a National Guard training mission in and around Honduras that involves Minnesota Guardsmen. Today, Governor Perpich announced he is challenging the federal law that denies states veto power over Guard assignments outside of our country. But Jackie Renner explains Perpich did not go as far as mission opponents had hoped.
Governor Perpich will not try to halt the third mission of the Minnesota Guard to Central America. During that training mission, Air Guard members are expected to fly troops from other states in and out of Honduras. Perpich says a recent media trip to Central America affected his views on the Guard mission, but he would not elaborate. The governor did say he wants to challenge the federal law because it erodes the power of states.
It's almost the same as what they're doing to us on age 21. The same they're doing with the speed, the 55. And this is just another one of those from Washington.
A coalition of peace groups urged Perpich to find a way to stop the Guard's third mission. They applaud the lawsuit, but complain Perpich didn't go far enough.
We think that every plane that goes to Central America with National Guard members on it is part of the Reagan war effort against the government of Nicaragua.
But the governor received pressure on both sides of the issue. The National Guard planes will carry hospital supplies donated by metro area Lions clubs, and they're pleased the planes will depart later this week.
The governor has his argument going with the president, not with us. And by the decision today, he's allowing us to continue the work we've been doing for 15 years by helping the people of Honduras.
An assistant attorney general expects the lawsuit to be filed within a week. Jack Tunheim says Minnesota will file the action and other states can join in later. At this point, Tunheim says 3 states have expressed strong interest in doing so. About 10 other states want more information. For the Eyewitness News Update, I'm Jackie Renner.
And opponents of that mission plan to demonstrate at the Capitol and also at the Air Guard base. That will be on Thursday night. Stan?
Workers in Red Wing are protesting their company's plan to ban smoking for all employees. The company is called USG, and it isn't just banning smoking on the job, but off it as well. Channel 5 medical reporter Dr. Michael Breen talked with some employees today who were smoking mad.
I'm not going to smoke at work if they don't want me to, but if I want to smoke at home, I'm going to smoke at home.
What if it costs you your job?
So be it.
This is not just a smoking issue, it's a freedom issue. We don't feel that they should regulate our life once we leave here.
While many companies regulate the lives of smokers on the job, USG is the first in Minnesota to regulate their lives at home. As of this summer, its workers at plants in Red Wing and Cloquet can either stop smoking entirely or stop working. Anyone who consistently flunks a regular lung test to detect smokers will be fired.
How do you feel about losing your job?
That I wouldn't like to see.
I don't mind not being able to smoke on the property, but I don't feel they should be able to say I can't smoke off it.
Officials for USG wouldn't talk to us on camera. Off camera, they say the reason for the ban is that the employees here work with mineral fibers. Fibers which, combined with smoking, make lung cancer more likely. Whatever the reason for the ban, it may be controversial, but it's not illegal. The Attorney General's office says the policy is legal because discrimination laws apply only to certain designated groups.
To my knowledge, there is no law finding that smokers as a class are a protected group that are entitled to some accommodation on the part of an employer.
Strand thinks other companies will probably follow USG's lead. That's because non-smoking employees are absent less, have lower health insurance premiums, and they're less likely to need workman's compensation. But while companies like USG have the right to ban smoking, the employees here say that right conflicts with others that are far more fundamental. Reporting for the Eyewitness News Update, I'm Dr. Michael Breen.
USG is offering stop smoking courses to its employees in preparation for this summer's ban.
Meanwhile, workers in New York City face another aggravating rush hour tomorrow morning. That's because of a strike on the Long Island Railroad. That's the nation's busiest commuter line. Today, it threw 150,000 commuters into cars and other forms of transportation, with bumper-to-bumper traffic common throughout the city. Engineers broke at least a half-dozen operating rules before the crash of a Conrail locomotive and an Amtrak train on January the 4th. That's what federal rail officials told a congressional hearing today. The crash near Baltimore killed 16 people, but the safety experts say it could have been avoided had the Conrail crews responded to any of 6 warning signals. Now, one signal advised reducing speed to 20 miles an hour just before that collision, but the locomotive was accelerating instead and traveling at 62 miles an hour when it struck the Amtrak train.
Fortunately, no drivers were close enough to really smash into the rubble when some road pavement suddenly exploded in suburban Little Canada this morning. A big slice of asphalt simply blew up at the intersection of Rice Street and County Road B, leaving a gaping hole, a big one. Northwestern Bell telephone lines lay underground there, and Northern States Power sent out a crew to look into what happened, but it's still a mystery tonight. Workers checked for swamp and sewer gas, but lab tests showed only a very slight trace of natural gas.
Our 5 Inside investigative unit is tonight breaking a news story.
And Tom Garrison will be with us next on The Update to explain why dozens of customers are angry at a local businessman.
For maximum performance, weatherproof your corn soil insecticide. Use Counter in furrow. Your protection won't be scattered by wind during application. And it's protected from heavy rains, so you put all of your insecticide to work in the soil. And Counter, with its unique Action 3, controls more major corn pests than any other insecticide. For superior control and proven performance, put your money where your crop is. Counter in furrow.
Hi, come on in and join us at Bob Carter's Midwinter Escort Sale. Shop this area's largest inventory of America's best-selling car. Sale prices start with factory discounts of up to $660, plus Bob Carter discounts that could be even more. The savings are here, 5 minutes east of the Mendota Bridge at South Robert and 110, or exit East 494 to Robert and 110. A big midwinter escort sale at Minnesota's only 5-star Ford dealer, Bob Carter Ford.
High blood pressure, left unchecked and untreated, isn't just frightening. It can be disastrous.
Take it easy, sir. Just relax.
What happened? Oh, my head. Am I going to be all right?
I'm going to give you a little oxygen, sir. You've had a hypertension attack.
Because high blood pressure is so dangerous, Snyder's now offers free blood pressure checkups and records at most locations. Snyder's, the old corner drugstore. For today.
If you bought something, how would you like to wait 1 to 5 years to get it? That's the question that some Twin Cities area advertisers are asking about 4 so-called new magazines being sold in the metro area. Those magazines and the man behind them have been the subject of an extensive investigation by our 5 Inside reporter Tom Garrison, and he's here tonight with his series called Read It and Weep.
That's right. Ruth, our 2.5-month investigation deals with one Edward J. Molitor and his company, Magazines of Minnesota. For better than 4 years, he's been selling advertisements to be placed in magazines which were never published until now. Even with the magazines finally out, some people are discovering, as we did, that some of the ads are for products, prices, even companies which simply no longer exist. That's enough for some people to read it and weep.
I feel that we got ripped off. I think that was a con. I've been slicked.
This guy's smooth. He is really smooth.
Feelings run deep about Ed Molitor. The admittedly financially strapped publisher is no stranger to controversy. While not admitting any wrongdoing, he promised under court order back in 1982 to no longer take advertisers' money without producing the magazines in which the ads were to appear. He promised not to misstate the number of magazines actually being printed or how widely they're distributed. And he promised to make it clear to advertisers that the title of his magazines are not the same as some other well-known publications with similar names. But 5 Inside's investigation shows that almost from the time the ink was dry on Molitor's promises to authorities, he appears to have systematically violated the court order. Under pressure from the Attorney General's office, Molitor has finally published 4 long-awaited magazines titled Minneapolis Business, St. Paul Business, Minneapolis Magazine, and St. Paul Magazine.
There were something like $100,000 worth of ads that had been paid for and had not been published. So our priority has been to get the magazines published so that those advertisements would appear as had been promised.
But now that the magazines have come out, our analysis shows that some advertisers have been waiting since 1981 to get what they paid for. 5 Inside obtained contracts of Molitor's company, Magazines of Minnesota. They show numerous ads were purchased 3 and 4 years ago and were never printed until December 1986. To add insult to injury, many of the ads are so dated or inaccurate, they're now virtually worthless. Consider Arbor Glen townhomes, which now cost $14,000 more than the price when Molitor sold them the ad 2 years ago. But Molitor printed it anyway. And there are ads for Sherman Energy Contractors, for University Lumber, Midwest Kitchens, and others, but they're all out of business. Holman Olson Florists are still doing quite well, but its Southdale store closed 2 years ago. Forest Park Estates wanted your business, but all the lots were sold out 6 months ago. There are numerous ads for companies with different addresses, different phone numbers, different prices, different product lines than they had 1 to 5 years ago when they bought ads through Ed Molitor.
It was in October of 1985, and we placed an ad, a full-page ad, in the amount of $1,630. We were constantly put off, and then we were told that it was going to be published the following month. And month after month, nothing ever happened. Our prime interest in placing the ad was to promote a product line that we were selling at the time, and since that time, we're not even promoting the product line. So the advertising is of no value to us at all.
Clients are not the only ones ripped off, however. Customers can be too. Molitor's Minneapolis magazine and one called St. Paul are now out on some newsstands. They shouldn't be confused, though they often are, with MPLS St. Paul magazine. 2 of Molitor's magazines boast of dining guides self-described as, quote, the best around. A spot check of page 1 of the Minneapolis guide lists 7 restaurants now out of business, and another with a different name. The Seasons restaurant in Coon Rapids is not the only advertiser to have changed menus, even chefs, since Molitor first promised them an ad.
Prices quoted in the article are lower than they are at this time. For instance, steak and lobster at that time were $14.95, and at this point, steak and lobster sells for $16.95.
And there are problems with some of the articles, too. For instance, the housing stories that the head of the Builders Association didn't write.
It says in there that that article is authored by a Mary Marinowski of the Builders Association.
I've never seen the magazine. I've never seen the article. I did not write the article. I'm not sure where they came up with the material. And to have someone else write an article and using my name and my association with the builders, I think is outrageous.
We don't know what Molitor himself thinks about that practice. He has so far declined to be interviewed, except to issue a statement through his attorney. We'll have Molitor's side of the story tomorrow night, including comments he made to some clients captured by a hidden camera. And later this week, we'll look at why the contracts Molitor uses make his kind of ripoff appear to be legal.
Molitor has said there are many advertisers pleased with his product. While we did find some, notably those who bought ads most recently, Molitor has so far failed to give Five Inside a promised list of those pleased advertisers. And we want to note once again that Molitor's Minneapolis and his St. Paul magazines should not be confused with the respected MPLS St. Paul magazine.
So people reading this magazine, picking it up off the newsstand, purchasing it, they see an advertisement, how do they know if it is bona fide or not?
Really only in the same way that we did, by calling up the number, finding whether it's still in service or disconnected.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
More tomorrow night.
You bet.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Dave Dawes.